Have you ever had a moment where something tiny happens, someone's tone changes, a coincidence pops up, a text takes too long to come through, and suddenly your brain decides it means something? Not just a thought, but a pattern, a sign, a hidden message that you're now responsible for decoding. If so, you're not dramatic, you're not too sensitive, you're not imagining things. You're doing what Amanda Montell calls magical overthinking, a kind of meaning-making that almost everyone does, especially today. And once you see how often it shows up in your life, you'll start noticing it everywhere. Her book is called The Age of Magical Overthinking, and the book opens with a simple but mind-blowing idea. Humans are born pattern-hungry. Our ancestors survived by spotting danger, movement in tall grass, a shift in the wind, a strange sound at night. Pattern recognition used to keep us alive. And today, those same instincts have nowhere to go. So instead of looking for threats in the jungle, our brains look for them. In vibes, in texts, in tone, in silence, in coincidences. Your brain is still trying to protect you. It's just working with outdated software. Montell uses what she calls meaning hunger to explain how modern life gives us too many dots to connect. Our brains hate randomness. They hate uncertainty. So when something confusing happens, your mind doesn't pause. It fills in the blanks for you. And it usually fills them in with the worst-case scenario. She opens up about her own spirals, where a small moment becomes an emotional avalanche. A tone, a pause, a coincidence on social media. Anything can turn into a clue. And the honesty is what makes the book so relatable. You see yourself in those moments instantly. But Montell doesn't stop at storytelling. She explains the psychology behind every spiral, introducing cognitive biases like probability, neglect, always assuming the worst. Confirmation bias, seeking evidence that proves your fears. Apophenia, seeing patterns in randomness. The halo effect, letting one detail color everything. The more you understand these biases, the more you recognize them happening in real time. Then Montell transitions into one of the most fascinating parts of the book: emotional contagion. Humans don't just see patterns, we feel patterns. We absorb other people's emotions without meaning to. A friend's anxiety becomes your anxiety. A stranger's agitation becomes your tension. A small shift in someone's mood becomes a story you start building in your head. And this constant emotional scanning primes you for magical thinking. Suddenly, you're interpreting everything as a sign about your relationships, your value, your future, or your safety. But Montell doesn't make fun of this. She explains the purpose behind it. Detection equals protection. If you can predict what's coming, you feel safer. If you can assign meaning to chaos, you feel more in control. This leads her into one of the book's most interesting ideas: superstition as self-soothing. People love to think they're logical, but almost everyone has rituals, lucky numbers, rules they follow, habits they swear will make the day better. It's not irrational, it's comfort. It gives your brain a sense of order, even if the order is imaginary. Then, Montell expands this into something bigger: collective magical thinking. Not just individuals spiraling, entire communities, cultures, even countries reading into signs, coincidences, and patterns. She talks about how people treat celebrity posts like prophecy, or how political groups see symbols where none exist, or how internet culture jumps to conclusions at lightning speed. It's not online drama. It's pattern recognition run wild. From here, she transitions into a concept called the meaning gap, the emotional space created when something happens and you don't know why. Your friend goes quiet. A coworker seems distant. A text gets dry. A coincidence pops up. A shift happens. Rather than sit with uncertainty, your brain rushes to fill the silence with explanations. Sometimes even magical explanations. Because the truth is, uncertainty feels more threatening to the brain than being wrong. This sets the stage for one of the most important sections of the book: why coincidences feel personal. Montell explains that your brain is wired to interpret coincidences through the lens of self. When something aligns, timing, words, symbols, numbers, your brain thinks the universe is talking to you. But in reality, it's your prediction, machinery malfunctioning. Your brain is matching patterns faster than you can realize. And when emotions are involved, the matches feel meaningful. Montell uses studies showing how often people misjudge randomness. A sequence that is statistically normal feels too orderly or too chaotic to us. Our brain wants randomness to look like a shuffled playlist, but real randomness is clumpy and weird. So when coincidences get clumpy or weird, you think, there's no way this is random. But statistically, it absolutely is. Then Montell brings in technology, which is where the book hits especially hard. Algorithms aren't mystical, they're math, but they feel magical. A video appears that matches your mood, a recommendation shows up at the exact right time. A creator says something that sounds like they're speaking directly to your situation. It triggers that old, ancient part of your mind that thinks, this can't be a coincidence. But Montell explains that this is exactly what the platforms are built to do. Intermittent reinforcement, predictive modeling, and behavioral feedback loops. They're not reading your mind, they're reading your patterns. Then she introduces one of the most humbling ideas in the whole book, the spotlight of the self. Your brain assumes everyone is paying attention to you far more than they actually are. Your awkward moment? Forgotten. Your typo? Ignored. That weird thing you said and no one remembers, but the spotlight effect convinces you that every moment is magnified, replayed, judged. This distortion is the foundation of magical overthinking. Then Montell zooms out again to talk about uncertainty, economic instability, climate anxiety, political polarization, and constant digital noise. When life feels unpredictable, magical thinking becomes a coping mechanism. Overthinking becomes a search for safety. Your brain thinks, if I can just decode this, if I can predict what this means, if I can read the signs right, then maybe I won't get hurt. It's protective, but exhausting. Montell gets deeply honest about the burnout of living inside your own mind, replaying conversations, rewriting outcomes, interpreting texts like sacred texts, feeling responsible for every emotional shift around you, living on high alert. She talks about the hangover after a spiral, the emotional fog, the embarrassment, the exhaustion, and she admits she wanted a cure, a way to shut off the thinking. But that's not how brains work. Instead, the book moves into awareness, gentle, compassionate, non-judgmental awareness, the kind where you notice your brain doing the overthinking without buying into the story, and the kind where you pause before reacting, the kind where you allow randomness to exist, the kind where you stop assuming every emotion must become a narrative. The biggest relief in the book is that Montell doesn't promise perfection. She promises possibility. The possibility that you can still feel things deeply without letting every feeling become a prophecy. The possibility that coincidences can be interesting without being destiny. The possibility that uncertainty can exist without being dangerous. And that's where the book becomes genuinely hopeful. You don't fix magical thinking. You learn to hold it lightly, because the truth is the universe isn't always talking to you. Sometimes silence is just silence. A mood is just a mood. A coincidence is just a coincidence. A thought is just a thought. But the more you can understand your brain, the less power those spirals have. You get to set the pace. You get to choose what deserves meaning. You get to decide what story you tell yourself. So let me leave you with this. What's your version of magical overthinking? Do you read into texts, coincidences, silence, gut feelings, dreams, patterns that seem too perfect to ignore? Tell me in the comments, what's the story your brain loves to create when it's trying a little too hard to protect you?